getting into commercial work, it wasn't really like this transition of things. I think most people in the film industry kind of have varying experiences for how they get onto different types of projects. But at least for me, at least how it went for me doing more commercial work was I got really lucky. And I know that's kind of like a vague way of putting things, but I'm being like so genuine when I say that. I got really lucky in the sense that, when I was first kind of starting to work in the film industry, a lot of that directors that I was working with, they were all kind of doing music videos. And as a product of that, I was also shooting a bunch of music videos. And sort of with time, a lot of the directors that I was working with either just stopped working in the industry, like kind of post COVID, but also a good chunk of them, like 70, 80%, started to do kind of more corporate and commercial stuff. And when I finally got into like getting back into the swing of things with 2021, where people were all taking these tests, um, we could have like these proper like productions where you have crews and all that sort of thing. And kind of coming out of 2021, going into 2022, we're sort of the beginning of like um, just shooting exclusively commercial or like corporate kind of work. Um, there was still like a chunk that sort of picked up music videos, and that never went away, right? Like I still do music videos like to this day. It's still something that's like decently fulfilling, at least as far as like a creative project goes. But a larger chunk, I'd say at that point, it was like maybe like 65% of directors I was working with. It was all like corporate, kind of commercialized, sort of pieces that we were doing. And I say that I got lucky because there wasn't inherently like any proving grounds, right? Because the directors who would hire me, they have a relationship with me and they're kind of automatically like, hey, we'll hire this guy because he's here and he's available. Um, there wasn't necessarily a period I know for a while. I don't want to say it was like kind of trendy, but like it was kind of a thing to like kind of do like spec work and to kind of, pitch yourself and promote yourself that way. And I don't think that's inherently like a bad thing. I think the way, if you want to transition into commercial work, it definitely seems like a viable option, outside looking in, right? But for me, the directors kind of did that transition themselves, and um, they just kind of carried me over. It allowed me to do other work that I normally wouldn't be able to pick up on had I had to go through this, sort of, I guess, spec phase of like trying to prove that like I'm capable of this kind of work and that sort of thing. It was just automatically like the trust was built in. And I think that sort of allowed me to kind of progress as far as the commercial side of things, really well and really easily. Ultimately, it kind of led me to like kind of do more, because initially it was like more corporate style interviews and kind of for like magazines and that sort of thing. It ultimately kind of led to some more lifestyle commercials. I'll talk about this in another video, but my experience in doing sort of that style of commercial work ultimately led me to shooting for a magazine called Usual Suspects. Um, One of the producers that was on that kind of hit me up and was like, "Yo, think you'd be perfect for this. Would love to have you on." Um, and again, part of that snowball, like it kind of led me to shooting other types of lifestyle commercials like that. Ultimately, I did another one for. I'm gonna say it, and I don't know how much I can go publicly with it. I shot a commercial for maybe like end of January. The director sort of saw my work and was like, "Hey, yo, like, can you do this?" It's like, "Yeah, I can," you know. Um, so unfortunately, as much as like I want there to be a direct line for hitting a certain goal or just reaching a certain type of or shooting certain types of projects, like there really isn't a direct lineage. It's just like people picking me up and thinking that I'm interesting, or picking this thing and they're like, "Oh, I'm gonna hit you up for this," you know? So it's very non-linear. It's just more like the kinda eyes that see something, for example. But yeah, there wasn't really a proving ground. I I don't know if you call it fortunate, but I didn't have to necessarily do these sort of, spec things, and it kinda freed me up to just, like, start shooting and just start, like, churning them out in a way that I think I wouldn't be able to otherwise had I needed to sort of had this proving ground and to sort of pitch myself and, that sort of thing. Like, rather than spending that time pitching, I was kind of immediately, shooting projects for brands and that sort of thing. But, yeah, that's sort of my 2 cents on sort of my experience with kinda taking on more commercial work, as someone who started doing, music video, DP work. I don't know, maybe this is helpful to somebody, but, I guess if I were to give you something to take away from it, this is just like there's no direct sort of way to get into something. It's more just like if you have the people around you who trust you, like they're ultimately going to be the ones to kind of uh, give back in a way. But yeah, that's sort of my 2 cents. Thank you for listening, and hopefully this is helpful. See you in the next one. Peace.